This is the course SPED 242, the lecture on psychoeducational assessment, and the specific topic today is on the calculation of age. My name is Dr. George Giuliani from Hofstra University, and this is for the course SPED 242, psychoeducational assessment. Now, anytime you test a child, perhaps the most important information you have to obtain is the child's age at the time of testing. In a sense, how old is this kid when you're actually testing the child? And this is known as the chronological age of a child. Chronological age, very simply, is how old you are. So if you're sitting there and you're 25 years old, your chronological age is 25. If you are 40 years old, your chronological age is 40. Well, we need to know the chronological age of every child that we assess when we do any type of evaluations in special education. Now, this is absolutely essential because miscalculating a child's chronological age will often result in faulty interpretations and scores. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If you're assessing a child who is 10 years old, but you then score the child as if the child were 8 years old, you're going to be norming your results against the kid who was 8 when your child is really 10. And vice versa, if you test a child who is 10 but you think the child is 12, that child may not be performing nearly as well as you thought because you're looking at it from 12-year-old norms when this child is really 10. So therefore, it is absolutely necessary that when you calculate age, that you take your time and you be sure of the child's chronological age when you're determining how old he or she is at the time of testing. Now, when you see chronological age in a report, it is often abbreviated, and that abbreviation is CA. So when you see CA in a report, that is just the abbreviation for chronological age. Okay, now the next question is, why not just ask children their ages? Well, the answer is really threefold. First, many children don't know when they were born or how old they are. You can ask kids, what's your birthday? And they may know, but the truth is some kids don't know their birthday, and they may not even know the year that they were born. Second reason why you just don't ask children their ages is because children think they may know their date of birth and year, but they're actually incorrect. But the third reason, which is the most important reason, is that when we're doing evaluations, we can't just go by years. We have to be very, very specific. And we're going to break it down to years, months, and days. It's something that children would not normally know. For example, in assessment, we're going to be talking about a child who is 8 years, 4 months, and 13 days old. Not just 8 years old, but 8 years, 4 months, 13 days old. And most of us have no idea exactly how old we are. So you may be sitting there knowing that you're 25 years old, but you don't know that you're 25 years, 8 months, and 11 days old. So you may calculate that a child has a chronological age, a CA, of 7, 9, 13. And what this simply means is that the child is 7 years, 9 months, and 13 days old. Again, 7 for the years, 9 for the months, and 13 for the days. And if you determine that a child is 11, 5, 17, this is telling us that we have a child who is 11 years, 5 months, and 17 days old. So again, when you see in a report the three numbers for chronological age, the first number is the year, the second number is the months, and the third number is the days. Now, the calculation of age is something that happens every time you do the assessment of a child in special education for any type of testing, all right? And when you actually do the assessment of the child, you have to first know, again, how old is the child. And therefore, right on the protocol, the sheet where we're going to do our scoring, is what we call the calculation of age box. It's an actual box, just like the PowerPoint in front of you looks like. And on the left-hand side, you'll see date of test, date of birth, and then chronological age. And across the top, we see year, month, and days. And what we have to do to calculate the chronological age is first know the date of the testing, know the date of birth of the child, and then by knowing those two things, we can then determine the chronological age of the actual child. So, for example, let's take a child who was tested on November 25th of 2012, and the child was born on July 9th of 1998. So you've done the assessment of the child, you did it on November 25th of 2012, and you find out through the parents that the child was born on July 9th of 1998. Now you have to calculate the chronological age of the child. So you go to the chronological age box, and you'll see date of test, date of birth, and chronological age, and year, month, and days at the top, just like the PowerPoint slide. So what do we put on the lines? Okay, under date of test, we know that the child was born in 2012, so under year, we put down 2012. Under month, we put down 11, representing November, the 11th month of the year. And under days, we know the child was tested on November 25th, so under days, we put 25. So the child born on November 25th of 2012 would have a date of test of 2012, 11/25. Now, for date of birth, we know the child was born on July 9th of 1998. Well, same rules apply. Under the year, we know the child was born in 1998, so we put that. Under month, we know the child was born in July, so we have a 7 there. And under days, we know the child was born on July 9th, so therefore we put a 9 under the days column. So we now know the date of test is 2012, 11/25, and we know the date of birth is 1998, 7/9, and our job is to calculate the chronological age. Now, in order to calculate the chronological age, there's a very important rule you have to follow, and that is this. We always start the subtraction process in our calculation box starting from the right to the left. Again, you follow it from the right to the left, which means first we subtract our days, then we subtract our months, and then lastly we subtract our years. Now you always have to follow this procedure. Again, first you subtract the days, then you subtract the months, and then lastly you subtract the years. And you always have to follow this procedure. There's no exception to the rule. You always have to follow this particular procedure. So, what do we know in our example from before? Well, we know that the date of test was November 25th of 2012. 2012, 11/25. We know that the date of birth is 1998, 7/9, again, July 9th of 1998. So what do? We start from the days column. So take a look at the days column. We take the date of test days, which is 25, and subtract the date of birth days, which is 9. So 25 take away 9 is 16. Then we go to our months column. And in our months column, we have our date of test, which is November, which is 11, minus our date of birth month, July, which is 7. And we go 11 minus 7, and that gives us 4. And then finally, our year the child was tested was 2012, and our date of birth of the child was 1998. And when we go 2012 minus 1998, we get 14. So this child was 14 years, 4 months, and 16 days old at the time of testing. Again, 14, 4, 16 at the time of testing, or 14 years, 4 months, and 16 days old. And we got that by going 25 minus 9 for our 16, 11 minus 7 for our 4, and our 2012 minus 1998 for our 14. Again, starting from the days column, then going from the month column, and then going to the year column. Now, one thing to note, on many tests